Newcastle boss Rafa Benitez has bigger worries than this Blackburn tie. He doesn't want Rafa Benitez does not want Newcastle's FA Cup replay with Blackburn tonight. Indeed, the Newcastle manager does not think the competition is worth his time right now. The Toon boss even admitted at yesterday's pre-match press conference the fixture is getting in the way of his preparations for Saturday's Premier League game against Cardiff at St James Park. Yet micromanager Benitez will still be out there at Wood Park night, scribbling notes, coaxing and cajoling his players and, when the final whistle is blown, carefully taking off his glasses before wiping them, putting them back in their case and slipping them into his top pocket. The Newcastle boss is one of the most professional, meticulous bosses in the business. But he could do without this game. Even those of us disappointed by his attitude to the FA Cup understand that sentiment. For this weekend's fixture against Neil Warnock's fellow strugglers is arguably Newcastle's most important since Benitez took charge almost 3 years ago. Win it and Newcastle would leapfrog Cardiff and could climb to the giddy heights of 15th if Southampton and Burnley both lose. Fail to take maximum points, and with tough games ahead against Manchester City and Tottenham, the odds on the Geordies suffering a third relegation since Mike Ashley bought the club 11 years ago would shorten considerably. Ashley, of course, is the problem at Newcastle, and with no fresh signs of him selling the club nor of him loosening the purse strings, Benitez must manage in the handicapped fashion that has forced his hand since March 2016. Virtually every Toon fan and most sensible outsiders acknowledge that the Spaniard is not the man responsible for the club's current predicament. But that does not mean Benitez has been flawless in his work, so if we assume circumstances won't change too much once the transfer window closes, it will be up to the manager and his methods to ensure top-flight football survives in the Northeast. For that to happen, Benitez must find an answer to Newcastle's appalling home form. Recent evidence offers little encouragement. The Magpies' home record this season screams relegation: 2 wins, 1 draw, 8 defeats, just 7 goals scored, 17 conceded. Only rock bottom, managerless Huddersfield have worse stats. Away from home, it's very different. Newcastle have won 2 and lost just 4 of 11 games on foreign soil, and just 1 of them, at Liverpool on Boxing Day, by more than the odd goal. While they are almost as goal-shy on their travels, averaging less than a goal per game, only the top 4 plus Leicester have conceded less. That's testimony to Benitez's ability to devise a game plan capable of frustrating and often nullifying far more gifted opponents. Manchester City and most recently Chelsea can bear witness to how effective his tactics can be. He adopted a similar strategy at St James Park when Newcastle played defensively against superior teams such as Chelsea and Arsenal. Both games were lost but narrowly and, arguably, unluckily. The football straitjacket, however, has been worn too many times in front of the club's own fans. Newcastle, and it's not just down to a perceived lack of quality, have proved incapable of playing off the cuff, improvised, attacking football in games when they are meant to be on the front foot. The Blackburn Cup tie is a case in point, but more pertinently, they failed to break down a wretched Fulham side who had failed to keep a clean sheet before their visit to Tyneside just before Christmas. It's not about throwing caution to the wind, going for the jugular or leaving the back door open. For all their limitations, this Newcastle side can win games at home. They proved it against the decent Bournemouth side and Watford too. Passion, a willingness to try something different and sub-attacking intent aren't sufficient alone to beat most Premier League sides. But against Cardiff, Cavalier football rather than the Roundhead version, can secure 3 points. And with Huddersfield, Burnley, Southampton and Crystal Palace still to visit St James's Park, throwing off the shackles might just be the best route towards survival.